But this bill is important because it also sets up breakfast clubs for the very children that she claims to champion.
So the back and forth between Kemi Badenoch and Keir Starmer today at PMQs was all to do with the Children's Wellbeing and Schools Bill, a jumble of different aims and initiatives, some being legislation to do with child protection and other aims to make academies follow a national curriculum as they had previously been able to opt out.
It limits the expense of school uniform and it puts in place vital protections for children. She has to answer the question, why did she instruct all of them to vote against child protection measures?
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister thinks that he can distract people from what is wrong with this bill. This is not about breakfast clubs and school uniforms. Teachers and parents will be horrified at just how bad this bill is. Even his own MPs may not realise it, but the bill will cut teachers' pay. It cuts pay for 20,000 teachers.
Now, what Kemi's talking about here is Labour were going to cap pay for teachers working in academies, making sure that they couldn't earn more than teachers working in state-maintained schools. But instead, Labour amended the bill, and Badenoch, it seems, doesn't seem to have got the memo.
And if she'd hopped off social media for a while, she would have seen the amendment that was put down this morning to achieve that end. But she says this bill is not about child protection. We had a young child killed who was taken out of a school by an abuser. This bill closes that gap. That is urgently needed. Look at the provisions in the bill. But to say there ought to be qualified teachers in our schools should not be extraordinary or opposed. And we had far too many examples in our secondary schools under their watch of teachers missing when we needed maths teachers. They championed maths. We didn't have enough maths teachers in our secondary schools, and I want every single child to have the best possible education.
But hang on, who's really behind this bill? Why, it's the trade unions. Yes, teachers who work in the schools, who might have a good idea of how a school should and could be run.
The facts speak for themselves. The standards went up under Conservative governments. What we need to know is who is benefiting. Mr. Speaker, everyone is asking who is benefiting from these changes. It's not teachers. Their pay is being capped. It's not parents. Their choices are being restricted. It's definitely not children. Their outcomes will get worse. So who is benefiting? It's the trade unions. The National Education Union sent out a tick list proving that after a decade and a half, they are finally getting their way. Why is the Education Secretary allowing trade unions to run her department and ruin children's education?
Click here for Robert Green on stupid people versus evil people.